In the previous video on this car, we showed you how we drove it home from Lancashire and had a very lovely time doing so. But there have been a few issues, which is why the engine is now on a hoist. So we're going to get to the bottom of what is going on. So yeah, here we are, not quite where we anticipated being. It's not gone entirely to plan, but it was a very nice drive home.
It was nice in it. It's not nice following it.
No.
No. It has an oil issue. So it's fine sort of driving along, but after overrun, you lift off the throttle and you run down the hill, and then you touch the throttle again. Boof. Big cloud of smoke up.
Which reminded us of a certain Daihatsu, yeah. I must admit. But yeah, wasn't the desired effect. No.
So what Adam was doing when it was up with him...
Yeah. Here's Adam again from Quirky Classics.
He's come down to help sort it. We thought that it was valve stem oil seals, which is what Adam had done.
Yeah.
But having driven it back, if anything, it was a bit worse. Hang on a minute, something's not right. So we've taken it apart again, taken the head off. We did find a small, the oil way is super close to the head gasket. That's the pressurized oil way, and that's the combustion chamber.
That is
and
close.
There was the tiniest little blob on there. I don't know whether you can see here in the head gasket, and another bit here. We think that was enough that just allowing the oil pressure to bypass the gasket. Because when I bore scoped it, cylinder number 1 had a puddle of oil. So we think that was probably the issue, but we've got it this far. I have a set of piston rings for it anyway. It's 90% likely to be that issue on the top of the block, but
now you're here.
Now we're here. Also, it's my sister's wedding in mid-January, which is in London. So it's a 600-mile trip. I can't drive it as it was that far. No. It's just...
No. And also, it needs to be right.
Like, yeah. I mean, it did the journey absolutely fine. It was lovely to drive. But
performance was not an issue. It just had a James Bond oil smoke screen.
Yeah, it looked a bit two-stroke.
Yeah. So it needs to be right, as you say.
Yeah.
And although it looks horrific, the honest truth is that to get it to this point wasn't a huge amount of work. It's just a bit... it's frustrating because we're going back on ourselves.
Yeah. It was running this morning.
Yeah, and Adam drove down here this morning.
Yeah,
so
we're
very
at
impressive.
2:25
Yeah, that's not bad going. So I've managed to come up just in time to see the pistons come out. So
this is it.
An interesting moment.
Yeah, we're trying to find, because there definitely was something where I've been, so that's obviously why I'm down here. What we want to make sure, though, is that there was a smoking problem before, and that isn't linked to the slightly worse smoke problem that we had. Yeah. So fingers crossed we go into it and don't find anything, and it is the valve stem seals that we initially thought. But we had a bit of a powwow while we're looking at it and thinking, we're going to risk it. And the honest truth is, I haven't driven this far to risk it. We're here to do it properly, so let's get it done.
Excellent. So we'll just let any oil drain out before we start.
It's got 2 layers of sump, essentially. That's like the front sump, but there's a massive aluminium casting underneath. It covers most of what you would think of as the sump. So,
yeah.
And there's hundreds of little bolts got to come off.
Blimey.
And a lot of washing, because it's gross.
Yeah. The floor has become interesting today.
It's brown now.
Yeah.
It was grey earlier.
Oh, well, it's nice to have a break from working on classic cars.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have a day off, isn't it?
Yeah. Brilliant. Right, while they're busy tinkering, I'll just remind you that this beautiful car is Mercedes-Benz W115. It's got a 2.2 litre 4-cylinder engine, and it's lovely. Ex-South Africa, but the interior is such a classy place to sit. Like I say, we didn't record it, but the drive home through North Wales was fraught. It was pouring down with rain, but the car just kept going very nicely. So it's beautiful colour. The interior is absolutely spotless. The gear change is nice. The steering, even with that massive wheel, no play in it, feels really nice. It's a joyous car to drive. So Tim's just pulled the clutch off, and that doesn't look too worn.
Looks like a record.
That, on the other hand, is interesting. That's plenty of grooves. Do you think it plays a tune?
What's interesting about it is that's the original Mercedes Sachs pressure plate. That's got LUK written on it.
Oh, so someone's done half a job.
Someone's done half a job, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's a good job I bought another clutch.
Is there a manufacturer date on it?
Yeah, it's looking for a date now, but it's not that obvious. It's pretty dusty.
How's the flywheel itself looking now?
I don't want to look. Actually, it's okay.
Phew.
There's a bit of discoloration to it,
Yeah.
but it's it's had a spigot bearing, which is nice, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But no, that'll clean up okay. Next thing
stuff.
to do is to check that the clutch kit that I've had ordered is right, because that's where
Fingers
we
crossed
get shot.
time. You can hear noise in the background. Tim's got someone doing metal work on the MGB GT project that is also ongoing on here. That is a vehicle for Tim, but there's more about that on the Cambrian Classics Limited channel. Number one piston is out. Piston's out, we're having a good look at it. Nothing is screaming bad, but notice the printing on the top of it. So what do these numbers mean?
Well, 87. Originally, this engine is an 87mm bore. So this engine's got oversized, been bored out, which is 87.47 of a mil.
Blimey.
So these are basically plus 0.5 of a mil bore. So it's had work before.
But nothing is screaming awful in terms of rings.
There's a little nick in this one. But that's a
very
compression ring, not oil control ring. Oil control ring's this bottom one. And that sort of just squidges out and just gets the oil film right. The set of rings that I've got are of a different style.
Just take a moment to admire the box that these piston rings came in. Beautiful. I notice bagging going on. Very, very not hub nut. So where do these rings come from?
FW Thornton was the engine part specialist.
Oh my gosh.
They do lots of they keep all the old stock stuff. Now these are in an AE box, but it's got a HEPA sticker on it. So they go around buying all the clearance and old stock.
Yeah. Wow.
So with these, it's just your top ring, centre ring, bottom.
Almost feels ashamed to get them out.
Yeah, and these are 0.15, which is what we need. So these have a different style, but these ends have to abut to work.
So something else we've got is the condensed technical data from Mercedes-Benz. So yeah, what do you want to know?
So that's like genuine or Mercedes technician issue. So go, yeah.
Wow.
So the smaller ones are the ones that have. The big ones are like, well, they push on like 900 pages, and there's just a lot of bump to go through.
Yeah,
Whereas this effectively has it for all the engines and all the information then and there for you, so you can find it quicker as the plan. However, because it goes across like 15 cars, you've still got well 518 pages of information in it. But it's,
wow.
It's the Bible for my workshop.
Yeah, useful. Well, it's the day after. I'm back here again. Much has happened while I've been away. Most of the engine is back in, but not all of the engine is back in, I noticed.
No, we had to stop. It was a very long day yesterday. We both did 13 hours straight.
Blimey.
So this morning was a very slow morning.
Yeah. Take it easy.
Yeah, so we took the decision, as you saw last time, to do the piston rings on the off chance that was a contributing issue at the beginning.
Yeah.
I had a set, as we discussed before, so that was done. I put a new clutch in it while the engine was out. So we got to about 9 o'clock last night, about to pop the head on, and discovered that the bottom of the face of the head hadn't been completely machined.
Ooh.
They missed a bit.
And in fact, Tim sent me this clip at 9:30 last night.
So we found an issue. The head was skimmed, and when the valve guides were all checked and valve stem seals put in it, But the machine shop, when they did it, missed the outer very corner. So there's like a step there. So the head won't have been crushed very well in this area, which is where we think the oil was getting into cylinder 1, unfortunately. So back it goes.
So as you can see, not ideal. But Adam, to be fair to him, has now legged it back up to Lancashire, taken the head back to the company that skimmed it for them to actually skim all of it.
Finish the job.
Yeah, warranty job. And then we'll be bringing it back down again. So
Yes, the plan is...
putting the legwork in.
Today is Wednesday. They're doing the head today, and Adam will be back down bright and early Friday.
Blimey.
So it's a long way for him, back and forth, to be fair to him.
And then I think everybody will very much have their fingers crossed that that is now sorted.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, the engine's, it had great compression, ran great, it just smoked after overrun, which is not the Mercedes look. So we're dying to get it sorted, and it is absolute carnage in here at the moment.
Yeah, pandemonium.
Yeah.
Because you're also stripping another engine.
Yeah, there's an MGB engine here that I've been doing for our own project car here. So there's that engine in bits, this engine in bits, there's all Mercedes bits over there.
Yeah.
It's coming, but it's chaos. So that's just awaiting that really. Once the head's here, new head gasket, I managed to get an L-ring headset and bottom end conversion set sent from Germany through our local motor factor E&M. They managed to get a set, get a full gasket set for the engine. Great. So, and a clutch. So head gasket, head on, chain on, time it up, radiator back in. It really is just kind of waiting for the head.
Yeah.
We've done everything else. And then cross our fingers and drive it a bit.
And hope. Yeah. I'm just going to flip the camera a moment, so we can look at the engine. So there's the timing chain being held up by cable ties at the moment.
Yeah, so normally...
try and not lose that time.
Yeah. Well, we get to recheck it and everything, so it comes up here around the cam pulley.
Yeah.
But that just sort of pinches it tight to stop it from dropping into the bottom of the gallery. I'm not sure it was on camera yesterday, but a stray washer did appear.
Oh yes, I don't think that was on camera.
Yeah, when we turned the engine over, happened to look in the bottom because the sump was off. Went, hang on a minute, there's a washer inside the timing chain there.
Blimey. So
there's bolts that go through the head that bolt down it, and so a couple of them are inside the timing chain gallery. And there should be a washer under them, and there wasn't a washer under them. So whoever had worked on the engine before had dropped the washer down, and the car had been driven for God knows how many tens of thousands of miles with a washer sat in the bottom of the timing chain. Not ideal. And when we rolled the engine on its end to do all the work to it moved.
Blimey.
Thank God we found it.
Yeah. So the problem, we think, it was this sticky out bit over here wasn't machined on the cylinder head.
On the cylinder head, just literally my finger's width there was missed on the head. And also there were a couple of bits of not quite cleaned off old gasket, but it meant that this whole area of head was jacked up. I did measure it last night, but I was very, very tired by that point, so I can't remember how much it was. It was something like 0.3 of a mil or something. It was enough that it really was not going to affect. It was going to affect it, because this is the oil gallery that had the leakage. Because I can see on my bore scope, which you might be able to insert a picture of.
There we go.
There was oil running down the bore here in cylinder 1, and there was a puddle in here, and there was oil running down the front. And this is a pressurized oil gallery, which is very close to the fire ring of the head gasket. Yeah. And we think because this was up high, it was not putting enough pressure on this, and when oil is running at 60, 70 psi.
Yeah. Because it wasn't smoking as we were driving continuously, but on the overrun, of course, you're pulling much more vacuum.
Yeah, there's an increased cylinder vacuum, and it all kind of makes sense that, because when we first did the work, it smoked a bit. When the head was skimmed and it came back, it was much worse. We're like, hang on a minute, how can it be worse having had the work done? And now this is why, is that the skimming was poor. So
at least we got to the bottom of it.
Yeah, it was poorly checked machine shop work that has caused all of this ball ache.
Blimey. So there we go. It has been adventurous. So the project will continue once
Yeah.
the cylinder head returns. Well, it's Friday again, and we are back on the Mercedes. I say we, I'm just filming it. But the cylinder head has returned, so poor Adam's been going up and down the country. He's gone back to the machine shop to be properly machined. So hopefully all will now be good. So now the cylinder head is back. The area that wasn't actually skimmed, it was this bit here. So they've done a pass right along here, but somehow managed to miss this bit. So that was pushing it up proud. But you got oil galleries so close to the cylinders that we think it was just leaking in. But the head originally came off for valve guides to be checked and valve stem seals to be replaced, because that would be your more usual source of smoke. But so hopefully we're now there. The head's about to go back on, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. The amount that was missed was out of the tolerance of what a head gasket could seal. So that's why it was leaking oil from that into cylinder one. Cylinder one was the one that was full of oil. So that's confident that that's the issue.
And going back to the head gasket that I showed you one time before, you can see where the pressure of it not being sealed quite right has changed the shape of it.
Yeah, just look how close that is to the cylinder.
Oh, it's super close.
Yeah, so ultimately this high pressure oil gallery here, when the gasket was like, with 0 miles on, was just enough to hold it, and then eventually it's given in. So so there's the point there. But
and when we took the head off, the whole surface was oily. You know.
Well, that's a good shout. You can actually see the remains of the oil. So the oil had got fully underneath the gasket. So, which certainly a blow, but we're in a really good place now. And ultimately, I'm feeling really confident. So.
Yeah, well, here we go. Incidentally, you've probably noticed the water galleries look a little weird. There's a steel insert in there, which apparently gets a bit deformed with time, but still allowing plenty of coolant flow.
I mean, if you want to compare the round galleries there to what shape they are on the head, you'll see why it's not actually on the right shape. So the water galleries aren't round on the block.
Oh, no.
So that's why I was saying that even if there's heads where they're falling out or you take them out. So as long as the actual hole is big enough for the seal on the head gasket to seal, you are okay. But then it's one of those jobs that you can re-sleeve them.
Yeah, so there we go. Getting close to head-on time. There's our gasket back on, but yeah, quite a few of the holes are very close to the firing, aren't they? Same there as well. At this point, we're glad it's not a 6-cylinder.
100% glad it's not a 6-cylinder.
So here's the fiddle. The chain's got to go through the head.
Got that. Good job.
And we're down.
This for you.
We're on.
Yeah. Starting to look like an engine again. Yes, other stuff has been occurring while I've been away. Underseal.
Yeah, the whole car, and I can tell you it's a lot bigger than an MG.
Yeah.
It took me way more hours than I was expecting. But because it's been in South Africa, it hadn't ever been undersealed since factory.
Yeah.
And with all the sand and dryness and everything, there was a lot of bare metal from just being blasted off, really.
Yeah.
But it definitely needed it to protect it for this country. And
Well, it's survived so well, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you live in Wales, it's going to rain.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But it's never been welded anywhere. I've yet to find any welding on it. It doesn't mean that it's not going to need some at some point. It has been in this country a little while. But yes, so I'm just trying to protect it as much as possible.
Yeah. So Tim's just cleaning up the bash plate, would it be?
Yeah, it's
for under the engine?
It's South African specification. It's got a sump guard and a tank guard. If you look under the back, there's a fuel tank guard. But just cleaning all the oil off of it. But hold that. Feel how heavy that is.
Oh, jeepers. That is heft.
Yeah, it's
Blimey, you'd improve the economy leaving that off.
Yeah, it's 2 mil plate by the look of it.
Yeah.
It's really very heavy.
Jeepers. Yeah. That's more substantial than the one on our Pajero Junior, I think.
Yeah, no, it's surprisingly thick steel.
Comes to cylinder heads, we have the book to tell us what is required.
Yeah, so here's our diagram here. So this is for tightening and loosening. So we've got the 220-8, which is what this car is. So we actually have two different sizes of head bolts on this car. So we have M10 as well as M12 bolts. So we've got our M12 pattern here and our M10 pattern here. And they actually sit in a slightly different torque, as in, they sit in the same torque sequence, but obviously we need to swap the tooling to go for it. So yes, that's where it is there. So we go in 1, 2, 3, 4 on all the M12s, all the way up to 10. And then at the end, we go across back to front.
Yeah.
Front to back with the last of the.
So 14 bolts to do in total.
Yes, and then you got to do those 4 times.
Yeah.
3 times to get to our end torque, and then after we then do a control, which is then a heat cycle, we then have to recheck them just to make sure.
Yeah, and these figures are MKP, whatever MKP is, but we've worked out that 9 of them equals 64.8 pound-foot. You have to work out your own Newton meters.
Yeah, we don't have it on the torque range.
Yeah.
So.
Final click time. There we go.
We get all 3 cycles on all 14 bolts.
Coming in to have a look. Is this the actual original brochure?
Yeah, so lots of paperwork came with it. So there's an advert, an original brochure. There's lots of paperwork.
Wow.
So for the 200 and the 220. So the 200 was 95 horse, and this is 105. But the thing about it is that I had to do a conversion, but 19.6 MKP works out 192 newton meters of torque. So it's got.
Blimey.
It's a lot for a petrol.
That is a lot.
Yeah, which is why it goes as it does.
Yeah, and you don't have to rag it because it just pulls so well.
Yeah. So that was the rear suspension they developed on this car.
Which went on to be used across the Mercedes range, replacing the earlier swing axles, which they were still using prior to the launch of this car. Look at that.
That's the sound testing the car.
My gosh.
No decibel meter on your mobile phone.
Have a second car following you around.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Got the cam pulley on. I've also put the chain tensioner on as well. So now we've got the slack where we want it. And what I want to do, obviously, is do a complete rotation of the engine to make sure that everything is in time, nothing's going to move. I said we did lose the timing of the distributor when we put it on its side. So everything is set at the moment. So all being well, using the crank by hand.
Just see a timing mark on the edge of the distributor.
Well, I can show you. We've got one down here, which Tim's nicely put on for us.
Oh, yeah.
And we've also got one just over here, which is a bit harder to see on the back of the pulley, which is actually on the crank itself. On the cam itself. So one rotation should hopefully get all these marks right back to where they are now. So I'll take it around. There's no compression because there's no spark plugs in the engine. So it's really nice and easy just to turn it over. With no access, it's a bit of a pain, but... So we're just going up to 180 degrees out now. So I'm going to stop on the mark, which is there. So 180, so that now should be 180 degrees away from the timer mark on the distributor. And then there shouldn't be a timer mark here, which I can see, but it's a bit harder for you guys to see, but definitely isn't there. And then if we keep going.
And importantly, nothing has gone clank.
Yeah, I was going to say, if anything stops, we then need to have a look at...
don't force it.
Yeah, and effectively all that would be is that the chain tensioner has taken the tension out of the chain in the wrong place, which has let the teeth move in the wrong direction effectively. But coming round now to top dead center again. So here we go, back onto the white mark, which is there.
Yep, that's that one.
And then that there should be in the same place, which it is.
Bob on.
And then this one here is bob on as well. So I'm happy that engine's in time.
Getting closer. Right, the manifolds are starting to go back on, and there was a fault when you originally did the job. It was discovered that there was actually a leak on the manifold.
Yeah, so there was a crack between these two, between there, effectively, I don't really know how to describe it, but between this bolt and this bolt. So we sent it off to be, I think welding kind of cheapens what happens there, but I can't remember the company who does it, but they take a sample.
Fuse it back together again.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're saying they take a sample of the metal, analyse the composition of the cast, so any repair material is the same as the manifold so it doesn't react. And
it's now got a lifetime guarantee on it, hasn't it, against cracking?
yeah.
Yeah, so and to be fair, they were, well, I don't want to say they were slow, but they were fairly slow to deal with. But the actual quality that came back, and the important thing is they completely checked the whole manifold for cracks.
Yeah.
And this is why we're now battling a little bit with the white. But actually, funnily, the stuff that they used to test for cracks was pink. So when it arrived, it was a pink manifold. So yeah.
Well,
so
it go nicely contrasting with the blue.
Yeah. It was,
No.
But yeah, no, it's they did a really good job, like a really good job.
Yeah.
And then one of the other sort of slight battles we had when I was in my workshop was there's a fibrous gasket, which is, so the inlet manifold's heated. Mm-hmm. So there's a fibrous gasket that's between. So when we initially sent the manifold off, I was told it was available. So we didn't really worry about the original one. We just sent it off.
Yeah.
And then after, I think it was there for 2.5 months. And when it came back, we started to put it back together. So I obviously chased Mercedes up, and they then informed me that actually, although it was showing us in stock, that there wasn't any.
Ugh.
So thankfully, I did have, and one of the options of why we brought the car to the workshop is I do have this manifold, but I think it's in a left-hand drive format. So this points back, because obviously you wouldn't have the steering box there. The steering box would be on the other side. So we're able to take that one apart to take the componentry out of that one to be able to make this one seal again. So we got away with it on this one, and we don't have the parts anymore. Yeah. But yeah, so we need to figure out a way going forward to make new ones of these because it says kind of an titanium. We've not been able to get any.
Yeah, but that leak would have been responsible for potentially some of the top end noise.
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah, is that but it was weird because it didn't show as leaking when it was cold. It was only once it got warm. But it was a real obvious crack, and it wasn't anything that was missed. We saw it and we knew it was there. But when we did a test when the car first started, it wasn't showing as leaking. You couldn't feel it.
Yeah.
And then when the car then got to temperature, or for that matter, higher revs, that's then when it was really blowing some.
The heat metal was expanding and opening the crack up. So.
Yeah, I think that can happen with manifolds, can't it? Just like Mighty Car Mods. So we're at the valve clearances stage. What are you aiming for?
Exhaust is 0.2 of a mil.
0.2, okay.
Or 8 thou.
So special tools were mentioned, and while you don't necessarily need them, they do make life a lot easier. And look at this one.
So you could use a standard crow's foot, but this is a hazard. So this is what they would have used in the factory. And where it's, so not only is it offset so you can get directly above the nut that adjusts the gap.
Yeah.
It also as well has the cutout, so it means you can leave it inserted and it doesn't actually press up on the rocker arm. So therefore you can leave it in place while you're taking the measurements. So yeah, this is actually an M115 rocker adjuster.
Yeah.
So.
Surprising how many cars come in here that have very, very badly set valve clearances. Stop.
Cool.
Back it up a touch.
So just getting that to a sliding fit. Right, now moving on to the inlet side. So change sides for everyone. What are we setting the inlets to?
These are, well, it's 0.8 mil, 0.08 mil, which is 3 thou. So very, very thin on the inlets.
Yeah.
Ooh,
There we go.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me know when you want.
Because the exhaust a little bit less. Too much. The exhaust valves get hotter, so they expand a lot more.
Yeah.
So you only need a little bit for the inlets because they're kept cool by the air and the fuel coming in. A little bit more.
Now Saturday, and we're back here. I had to go and do hublet duty last night, so kind of abandoned it with the engine mostly together. it now seems to be all together. So what's been occurring, as they say?
Yeah, it runs.
Aha.
Late last night, it runs. It's been a bit of a battle getting the exhaust to seal. We made some improvements to what was there before.
Yeah.
It has been a bit of an issue trying to get the manifold to seal. Yes, it was cracked, but also where the downpipe joins to the base of the manifold. It's got it was like a metal dome going into the metal dome in the manifold, but I managed to find a compression fitting, I suppose, with like the fibrous ones.
Yeah.
That seems to have done the job.
So there we go.
Yeah, so it's just been, putting fluids in, bleeding it, going through timing and tune and all that type of thing.
Yeah.
Tested the new clutch, that's working. It did manage to puke an airlock everywhere.
Yeah, we have been trying to clear up. The workshop is going to need a deep clean after this one, I think.
It had an airlock in the head that didn't want to seem to clear, and when it did, we had the cap off, and when it did and it was running, it went blah, everywhere, all over the fan, and it went shh, made a big mess.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, apart from that, it has, it's gone back together okay. The machine shop, redid the skimming, and it's not leaking.
Should we do the bit they're all waiting for?
Yeah, you want to hear it run?
Yeah, let's fire up the beast. Whoa, that is quite the difference to where we were. Look at this lovely mechanical linkage, by the way. Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have some mechanical noise just because everything is metal. Look
Yes,
there.
yeah.
But
it is an older generation of engine. Don't forget.
Yeah, but from where it was, that is a lot quieter.
It's a lot. Yeah, it is a lot better. Yeah.
I guess the key question is, it's a bit difficult. It was doing under very specific circumstances, but do we get any smoke out the back? We've got condensation because it's cold, but that's not looking very blue at all. There is one very important job left to do. Life gets a lot easier if you take the grill off and stop banging your head on it. But there's still this to catch you at every opportunity. Yeah. Well, we are on the test drive. Everything sounds lovely. It sounds an awful lot better. Get everything nice and warm, and then we'll go and test whether the blue smoke on the overrun has been cured. But what an absolutely lovely place to sit in the back of this car. Really, really comfortable, lovely view ahead. Those lovely wipers.
2, 1.
Oh, look at that. That was a long overrun. Where's the blue smoke? Appears to be no longer looking like a Trabatza.
Yay!
And so much quieter, the engine. We've opened the fresh air vent now, because when you open the fresh air vent, you were getting all that valve chatter coming straight through, and it just sounds so much more refined now. So it's been a troubling period, but we have got there in the end.
If it was made by a man, it can be fixed by a man.
Yep. That's the biggest test yet, as we come down a big long descent.
Ready?
Yep.
Look behind.
There's a puff. There is definitely still a puff of blue. Just a little.
Nothing like it was.
Not like it was, but there is still just a hint. No smoke. So we've just had a lovely run out in the Mercedes to the Street Food Circus Festive Feastival here in Carmarthen. We've had a lovely time, haven't we?
Oh, we've had a wonderful time.
A wonderful time. But yeah, we're kind of there with this car. I haven't done anything, I just filmed it. But it's not 100%, but it's feeling an awful lot closer than it did quite a few days ago.
Yeah, it's a lot better than it was. It sounds happier. There's no smoke when you're blipping it, or there's a little bit still on overrun, but it's got brand new rings in a bore, in a used bore. We checked it when it was all apart, and there was no taper or out of round or scoring or anything like that to the bore. It was.
And before anyone says anything, there isn't really a breather as such on this car. It's like our Daihatsu, which also smokes, where it has a baffled cam cover, effectively.
Just comes straight off the rocker cover into the inlet manifold through a restrictor. There's no gauze, there's nothing to block up, and I have triple checked it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it needs miles now. We got to seat these new rings in. It is a lot better than it was, a lot better. So we're out and about using it, just trying to get it to we had
a lovely day here in Carmarthen.
It's got to run in essentially.
So at some point we will do a full test on this vehicle in our usual style, but that's going to have to wait a little because you're going away in it for Christmas, I think.
Yes, we are. Yeah, it's going to go for a
more
drive
miles
to England.
on it.
So,
Yeah.
It's what it is, what it needs now. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for watching. It's been an interesting experience.
Yeah.
There's been much learned along the way, and I hope you've enjoyed watching. And we shall see you in a future video. Bye.
Bye.
Gratuitous wiper action.